So today our group gonna present about how productivity is affected by motivational, affective, and technical problems during the COVID-19 pandemic. So as we interview questions from our three stakeholders, we could categorize this problem into three categories. First is motivational. First, we're gonna talk about the negative effects. Obviously, being in quarantine, he reported he lose some of his motivations due to the lack of pressure from peers and professor in class. And the next is the poor sleeping routine that he has actually made him not. He reported that he did not feel motivated enough to sleep early and wake up early to catch the morning class. This made him miss a lot of morning classes. And then when working in groups, sometimes he reported he tends to loaf while doing the group work because there's no face-to-face interactions while he doing it. And the next, actually, there are some positive effect reported by one of our participants. It says that it's easier for him to learn and revise because like being alone increase his focus, increase his attention, so it's actually help him learn better. The next one is effective. So the negative effects of effective would be anxiety and depression because like during the quarantine, that person lacks face-to-face interactions or didn't meet any of his friends, so he reported he felt a little bit of frustration and anxiety, depression. And the other thing is alcoholism. Like one of the participants reported that he needs to drink alcohol every night before he sleep because he needs to improve his mood because he's working alone all day and he did not have any recess time and he did not have any time to meet his friends. He didn't get a chance to meet any of his friends, so he needs alcohol to calm us down. And the next thing is the technical categories. So the positive effects would be because due to the COVID-19, we work at home, we learn at home, so due to this events, it influenced him to have higher flexibility because he could work anywhere anytime that he wants. And the ease of learning and revision because you obviously sometimes you're just sitting alone in front of the computer or watching a video alone, so sometimes there are more attention involved while learning. And the main negative effects, it's basically when doing group work um, with no face-to-face contact and working using like a voice chat via a line or Microsoft Teams, something there would be some communicational difficulties like some internet problems. Sometimes like the directions, the objective of the work sometimes are wrong because of these miscommunication.
Next, I'm going to talk about the motivational problems regarding to the cause and solutions. The first one is sleeping routines. So as expected, COVID-19 may have a negative influence on your psychologically, so will reduce quality of your sleep. Our suggestions is to trying to have longer hours of sleep and develop sleeping routines because that will affect your qualities of sleep. The second problem is social laughing. Uh, this one is kind of like emphasized by the situation because you cannot see each other, so you're more likely to experience social laughing. Our suggestion is to trying to make the task more interdependent and visible to other member of the group. This mean, in other words, is trying to make the member of your team cooperate with each other more. The third problem is lack of peer pressures. Our suggestion to this problems is to trying to reach out to your friend normally, like you would at university, something like that. That will like kind of add that extrinsic motivation to your life and that pressure to do the work and stuff.
Okay, now let's move on to the affective problems, the causes and solution. First one, let's talk about depression. Um, According to Harry in his book, Lost Connections, he argues that especially for time like this, depression can be caused by disconnection from nature, significant others, and meaningful works and values. So how do we solve that? Let's talk about the disconnection from others first. So during time like this, it's obvious that you can't see your friends. Some of you, maybe you don't live with your families or so that can be quite lonely, of course. Talking to friends, talking to your families, sharing stories, or maybe just do a group call, FaceTime, seeing each other, that can probably help you cope with the hardship of times like this. At least it will make you feel less lonely to talk with someone important to you. Okay, next one is anxiety. Anxiety has been found to be a significant correlate of stress. So when people are stressed, they often get anxious also. So how do we cope with that? What are the causes of that first? So obviously we have a lot of work during this semester, and most of them we have to do it alone. So probably going through pages and pages of work alone without your friends to share your ideas with, or to see like that we are struggling together, that can be quite difficult to go through. Also, maybe although most of the lecturers may give us feedbacks via emails, via video calls, and stuff like that. Physical feedback, lack of physical feedback is sometimes a little bit uncomfortable to go with, like you don't see the facial expressions and all other stuff that you get to see when you are doing a face-to-face feedback. Okay, and also responsibility load. So having control over your work is one thing, but that's also requires a substantial amount of work, because you have to make a schedule, manage yourself, and manage your time, and that can make people quite anxious on what they should do. How should they manage their schedules? So how do we solve this? Basically, according to Bark and Morgan 1978, a physical activity, meditation, and quiet recitation can equally reduce anxiety. What that means is that maybe going exercise, maybe meditate, and take a little bit of quiet session of rest can help you reduce anxiety. Here, next one is alcoholism. So during time like this, you stay home, you don't have anything to do. Basically, every night, like you have a beer in the fridge, you just pop that open and then pour you a glass. Maybe that will help you cope with the situation and relax a little bit. But alcoholism can be quite problematic, because you can become addicted to alcohol. It can interfere with your work. Yeah, so generally, Richmond, Heater, and Holt 1996 suggested that unspoken rule of alcohol restrictions during work hours can increase the level of productivity. So I think it's quite important for us as students to support each other, so like a peer support, to give each other encouragement, to reduce the loneliness and social isolation, which was found on Butler, Karkanis, Jones, and Weiner 2016 to be a cause of stress and anxiety. So by supporting each other, maybe we can help our friends reduce the amount of alcohol consumption, and also help them cope with the stress and anxiety, which probably lead them to consuming a lot of alcohol.
Okay, so for technical problems, the causes, our interviewers interviewed that they face lack of face-to-face feedback and physical contact, like they can't communicate or ask effectively from what they want to ask. So the solution for this one is a research from Lapidot, Leofield, 2012. He suggests that the lack of eye contact was the chief contributor to the negative effects of the online distribution. So video call may solve the problem in this case. Like if we have more interactive class, not just like tapes of video, it might really helps this point.
We're asking for feedback from the three stakeholders. So our suggestions overall seems to work well at the early stages, while a lot of effort were required to maintain the schedule. For sleeping routine, work and responsibility makes our stakeholders feel not up to task. The solution for social loafing sounds more directed to lecturers. Lack of nature due to living in the town. For lack of peer pressure, a lot of social media does not seem to improve, but phone calls could be considered as another alternative. Lastly, our final crisis. In this time, there are no spare time to do anything else other than the remaining works.
Okay, moving on to the last part of our presentations. So after the evaluations from the stakeholders and members in the group, here are some practical ways to improve the proposed theoretically based solutions. First, in general, we should imply the solutions that require less amount of time. Also, the instructions for the solution should be simple and easy to understand. A good example of the solutions that do not require complex instruction or a lot of instructions might be exercising or meditation. Finally, some incentives such as rewards or money are found to help boost people motivation, but we should be aware of the backfire, which cause people to focus too much on the extrinsic motivations rather than the intrinsic motivation. And here is our references for cause and solution of the problems. That's pretty much about our presentations. Thank you.